The first war was over, Stormwind had fallen. The mighty power of the unleashed horde had beaten the humans. Those who survived fled north, across the sea, on thousands of ships. When Archbishop Alonso's Fowl and his young apprentice Uther heard this news, they were shocked. Before Fowl became Archbishop, he had been the head of the Northshire clerics. The Northshire clerics fought bravely against the horde, and while they were excellent healers, they were no fighters and suffered heavy losses. Uther and Fowl both realized that something like this must never happen again, and so they founded the Order of the Silver Hand. They recruited noble knights, former clerics and even members of priesthood and trained them to become the first paladins among the human race. Paladins were strong knights who were not only tough melee fighters but were blessed by the light as well. At the Alonso's chapel in Stratholme, Uther became the first paladin and their leader. Stratholme will be the place where Uther will be charged for treason and the Order of the Silver Hand disbanded many years later, but first Uther becomes a hero.
Damn, these orcs will never surrender.
He and his paladins fought in some of the bloodiest conflicts in the Second War. During the siege of Lordaeron, he's earned himself the title the Lightbringer by Turalyon, Anduin Lothar's lieutenant. It was Uther himself who discovered that Alterac had betrayed the Alliance. He even led the final assault against the Burning Blade clan at the Dark Portal. Once the war was won, Uther stayed in the service of Terenas Menethil II, the king of Lordaeron, and it was there when he met the prince who should change Uther's fate and the destiny of so many others. Uther started to train Prince Arthas Menethil to become a paladin.
Welcome, Prince Arthas. The men and I are honored by your presence.
Father still hopes your patience and experience might rub off on me.
It was no easy task to make a noble paladin out of the young Arthas. Arthas didn't seem to be really interested to learn about the duties of a paladin and how to use the healing powers of the light. The young prince was far more interested in his fighting lessons with Muradin and riding on his horse Invincible. But one day, Arthas had an accident while riding. Arthas was not hurt, but his horse died that day. Arthas realized that the power of the light might have allowed him to save the life of his beloved mare. From this day on, Arthas took his training with Uther way more serious.
Remember, Arthas, we are paladins. Vengeance cannot be a part of what we must do.
Yes, Uther.
And so it came to be. After years of training, the young prince was finally ready to become a paladin. In the rebuilt city of Stormwind, in the Cathedral of Light, Arthas made his vow. It was Uther who led Arthas through the ceremony. For years, Uther had trained Arthas, had trained him for this very moment. During this time, the young prince and the Lightbringer became friends. Uther was so proud and deeply touched. He remembered how he became a Knight of the Silver Hand, how he swore his oath, how he felt like he was not worthy of it. Before the ceremony, Arthas had told Uther that he felt unworthy as well. Uther had to smile. Everyone feels like they're unworthy, he told the young prince, because we all are, but it doesn't matter. The light loves us all. Not long afterwards, bad news reached the king of Lordaeron.
We've received reports that the orcs are regrouping. And certainly the recent attacks against the internment camps are evidence enough.
Agreed. The Horde is on the move.
This is absurd. My nation will not stand by and watch as the Horde masses on our very doorstep.
The orcs are not our primary concern here. How many times must I repeat myself?
King Terenas, you must heed my warning.
This plague that has gripped the Northlands could have dire ramifications.
Not only did orcs break free from the internment camps, but a mysterious plague had gripped the Northlands as well. While the Kirin Tor investigated the origins of the plague, King Terenas sent two of his paladins to defend the city of Stranbrad from orcish raiders. The two paladins he sent were Uther and his son Arthas. It was Arthas' first mission as a paladin.
Our scouts have confirmed that there is an orc encampment hidden somewhere over the next ridge.
As I suspected.
It gets worse. They're preparing to attack the nearby village of Stronbrad.
I need to move against the orcs' base immediately. Can you handle Stronbrad's defense on your own?
Of course, Uther. Don't worry about me.
When Arthas reached the city, the attack had already begun. He managed to defend the town, but many citizens were enslaved and deported by the orcs. They managed to find and attack the base of the orcs. A blade master sacrificed townsfolk there in order to summon demons. They killed him and his companions.
You've done well, lad. This was a sound victory.
The first mission of the young prince was a great success. Arthas' next mission was to further investigate the plague in the Northlands, together with his former girlfriend, Jaina Proudmoore. Uther and Arthas should meet again only several weeks later, but during these few weeks, everything had changed. The dead of Lordaeron were rising. At first, Uther only heard rumors of this new threat, but it shouldn't take him long until he had to fight them on his own. One day, Jaina Proudmoore teleported into his camp. She delivered a message for Uther. She looked desperate. The city of Hearthstone was under siege by thousands of undead. Prince Arthas led the defense, but it was only a matter of time until they were overrun. Uther acted immediately. He took the paladins and knights under his control and they headed towards Hearthstone as fast as possible to break the siege and to save Prince Arthas. Uther had trained the prince for years. He hoped that Arthas was able to hold the defense until they reached him. Arthas had to hold the defense. Uther didn't want to think about what happened if he didn't. What Jaina told him while they rushed to Hearthstone made him even more worried. The undead seemed to be the product of the plague. A corrupted mage of the Kirin Tor, Cal Fusad, had practiced necromancy and made a pact with Mal'Ganis, a demon lord. Jaina and Uther had managed to track Cal Tusad down and killed him. But the Scourge, that was what the undead called themselves, was already powerful, and for every human soldier who fell, the number of undead grew. Uther reached Hearthstone just in time.
Uther! Your timing couldn't have been better.
I'm surprised that you kept things together as long as you did, lad. If I hadn't arrived just then...
Look, I did the best I could, Uther.
What we faced here was only the beginning. The undead ranks are bolstered every time one of our warriors falls in battle.
Then we should strike at their leader. I'll go to Stratholme and kill Mal'Ganis myself if I have to.
Uther felt that Arthas was driven by his emotions. He was worried. A paladin needed to stay calm. Vengeance must never be a part of what they do. He followed Arthas to Stratholme. He hoped that he was able to keep Arthas under control. But the Lightbringer had to realize soon enough that this was no longer possible.
Glad you could make it, Uther.
Watch your tone with me, boy. You may be the prince, but I'm still your superior as a paladin.
As if I could forget. Listen, Uther. There's something about the plague you should know. Oh no. We're too late. These people have all been infected. They may look fine now, but it's just a matter of time before they turn into the undead.
What?
This entire city must be purged.
How can you even consider that? There's got to be some other way.
Damn it, Uther. As your future king, I order you to purge this city.
You are not my king yet, boy. Nor would I obey that command even if you were.
Then I must consider this an act of treason.
Treason? Have you lost your mind, Arthas?
Have I? Lord Uther, by my right of succession and the sovereignty of my crown, I hereby relieve you of your command and suspend your paladins from service.
Arthas!
It's done! Those of you who have the will to save this land, follow me. The rest of you, get out of my sight.
You've just crossed a terrible threshold, Arthas.
Arthas took his knights and entered Stratholme.
The king's own men are attacking! Run for your lives!
You're supposed to be our prince!
What have you done? What's going on?
What did we ever do to you?
The day after the slaughter, Uther realized that the royal fleet was missing. He needed to find out where Arthas had gone. He needed to stop him. In the ruins of Stratholme, he found Jaina Proudmoore. She seemed shocked by what Arthas had done.
Jaina! Jaina Proudmoore!
Lord Uther?
Ah, Jaina. I thought I might find you here. Where has he gone, girl? Where has Arthas taken the fleet?
He came to me before he left. I pleaded with him not to go. I told him it sounded like a trap.
Where?
Northrend. He's gone to Northrend to hunt Morganis.
Damn that boy. I've got to inform King Tyrannus. Don't be too hard on yourself, girl. You had nothing to do with this slaughter.
Uther headed to King Tyrannus. Arthas seemed as if he had lost his mind. The boy needed to be stopped before he could do more damage. Uther knew the king for many years. He hoped that Tyrannus would listen, that Tyrannus would send an emissary to Northrend with a command to retreat. Probably the stress in Hearthstone was only too much for Arthas. Maybe there was still a chance for Arthas to find back on the rightful path, find back on the path of the light. But first the young prince had to come back home. King Tyrannus Menethil was on Uther's side. He sent a zeppelin to Northrend, ordering all troops and his son to come home.
By royal edict, you men are to return to Lordaeron immediately. Lord Uther has convinced the king to recall this expedition.
Uther felt relieved. Even if Arthas didn't want to follow the command, his men definitely would. No soldier would dare to refuse to follow a royal command. But it took the prince way longer to come back home than it should have. And when he came home, the real horror began. When Arthas arrived, there was a huge celebration. Word had spread that Tyrannus' son managed to kill the demon Morganis in the far north, that the danger from the scourge was now banned. Arthas came back as a hero.
Look, it's Prince Arthas.
Uther wasn't there to welcome Arthas. He wasn't there when it happened.
Ah, my son.
You no longer need to sacrifice for your people. You no longer need to bear the weight of your crown. I've taken care of everything. Succeeding you, Father.
This kingdom shall fall, and from the ashes shall arise a new order that will shake the very foundations of the world.
After Arthas had murdered his own father, he and the Scourge killed everyone who attended the celebration. They killed almost everyone in Capital City. 2 decades ago, the Horde tried to destroy Lordaeron and failed. But now, Lordaeron was destroyed by its own prince. King Tyrannus was cremated, and his ashes were stored in a magical urn. Uther was devastated. He had lost the king he served for many years, and he had lost Arthas to some dark madness. The Lightbringer volunteered to escort Terina's ashes to their final resting place in Underal, but on the way, he met an old acquaintance.
Your father ruled this land for 70 years, and you've ground it to dust in a matter of days.
Very dramatic, Uther. Give me the urn, and I'll make sure you die quickly.
The urn holds your father's ashes, Arthas. What? Were you hoping to piss on them one last time before you left his kingdom to rot?
I didn't know what it held. Nor does it matter. I'll take what I came for one way or another.
It was an epic battle between the Lightbringer and his former student Arthas. Uther's faith was strong. In fact, it might never had been that strong before. The light's aura around him grew brighter and brighter, almost blindingly bright. He had the upper hand in the battle. He disarmed Arthas and knocked him to the ground. But suddenly, the cursed blade was in the hand of Arthas again. Something gave the fallen prince additional power. Something stronger than Uther. The Lightbringer lost the fight.
I dearly hope that there's a special place in hell waiting for you, Arthas.
We may never know, Uther. I intend to live forever.
Uther the Lightbringer died. He was the first human paladin, the leader of the Silverhand Knights, and one of the greatest fighters in Azeroth. He was slain by his own former student Arthas. Uther's remains were later found and brought to rest in a tomb. The tomb is located in the Western Plaguelands. The marker stone in the tomb reads: "Here lies Uther the Lightbringer, first paladin, founder of the Order of the Silver Hand. Uther lived and died to defend the kingdom of Lordaeron. Though he was betrayed by his most beloved student, we believe that his spirit lives on. He continues to watch over us, even as the shadows close in around our ruined land. His light is the light of all humanity, and so long as we honor his example, it shall never fade."